Good morning. I'm Kristin Tyler. I'm going to be your host for the webinar today. I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to get logged in and join us. Today's webinar is another one in our series of how to use LAWCLERK, and it is focused at estate planning. So I have to say I'm really excited about this practice, or this specific webinar, just because that's been my practice area. Estate planning and probate are my areas that I am passionate about, and so I'm really excited to share that with you. Okay, so I'm going to wait a few more minutes. As we wait here, I see some more people rolling in. Hello, thanks for joining us. Fantastic. I will go ahead and queue up my slides, but I did want to come on first and say welcome and glad to see everyone. So, okay, let's get this screen share started. We've got some more folks joining us, but I know your time is valuable. So without further ado, away we go. If we can start the slides. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so again, welcome. I'm Kristin Tyler. Hopefully you're in the right place. You're here for our How to Use LAWCLERK for Estate Planning webinar. For those of you who don't know me, I am one of the co-founders of a company called LAWCLERK. Hopefully you're familiar with that if you're here with us today. But I've also been an estate planning attorney for about 12 years, a little over that. I was passionate about estate planning issues going into law school. Love those courses, had a mentor that did estate planning work, and I thought it would be a really great career, and I've loved it. I love the relationships I have with my clients, and I think it's a really special area of law to practice because of the relationships we build with our clients. And the fact that we get to work with them in, a largely non-adversarial role, unlike all of our litigator friends. So I know they think estate planning is boring, but it is not. It is one of the best kept secrets in the law, and I love it passionately. I've got my email here, my Twitter handle. If you have any direct questions, I'm happy to connect one-on-one and answer those later on, or feel free to drop them in the chat. So before we launch into some of the estate planning specifics, wanted to just give you a little short background on what is LAWCLERK. You probably already know what it is if you're here, but if not, what we do at LAWCLERK is we help connect busy attorneys all over the country with our network of freelance lawyers. We call the freelancers LAWCLERK, hence the name of the company. What we do is we help you connect for project work. So when you are slammed and you need some extra help, whether that's every single day or it's once in a while, we can match you up with the perfect freelancer for you to help get that work done and conquer that never-ending to-do list. The great thing is there's no fee to sign up, there's no monthly fees, so it costs nothing to have it be available to you, ready to go when you need it. You might as well sign up for an account today if you don't have one already. And then when you do need some help, all of the work is done on a project-by-project basis at a flat fee price that you set, so you have control over what you're spending, and we'll get some more into the pricing later on. So that's the basic intro there, and let's jump into it. So my hope is that if you're here, you're curious about outsourcing, you're looking for some different resources, probably in a virtual capacity due to the world that is 2020. And you're probably trying to focus in on kind of what's the best use of your time. Surprisingly, I think a lot of us are feeling even more stretched for time in this COVID world than we did in the before times. And so as you focus in on the best use of your time, you have to start delegating and outsourcing a lot of tasks that are not worth you spending your valuable time on. And that's why outsourcing is such a smart move for lawyers in particular, because I think lawyers are acutely aware of the value of their time, especially if you're billing hourly. And so, sorry about that. It's great to look for these resources, and there's so many resources out there, whether you're looking for freelance attorney help, you need help with answering your phones, you need help with just typing work. There's a ton of virtual resources out there to help free up your time for the things that you want to focus your work on. Okay, so what can you outsource? In terms of outsourcing to freelance lawyers, of course, you can outsource big research projects, drafting any sort of written document, of course, help with discovery if you do any estate litigation. Also really interesting, some marketing and a lot of other things. And I've got some great examples on that today. So how do you get started? Well, of course, if you haven't already, you're going to want to register for your free account with LAWCLERK. And after that, I definitely encourage you to take time to connect with your dedicated LAWCLERK advisor. Every attorney who registers for a hiring account with LAWCLERK is matched up with one of our advisors. And they are essentially your concierge to help you hold your hand, walk you through setting up your first project, picking the best applicant, all of those things if you need a little extra help. So I want you to know that if you're curious about outsourcing and delegating, you're not going to walk this road alone. We have got an awesome team of advisors here to help you, guide you, and the really cool part is they all work with a couple hundred lawyers all over the country. So they see ways that other lawyers are succeeding with delegation and outsourcing, and they can draw on those experiences and share them with you to help you succeed. And that's really the heart of what we want, is we want to see you succeed with your law practice, help more clients, and improve legal as a whole. So we also have a ton of resources available. I'll show you where those are later on. But first off, you really need to just select a project and get going. Give it a try. Jump in both feet first. And probably the #1 piece of feedback we hear from lawyers after they do their first 1 or 2 projects on LawClerk is that they wish they would have gotten started with outsourcing and delegating work to freelance lawyers sooner to help get those log jams in their to-do list cleaned up. So, okay. I know that you're here because you're really curious about estate planning specific projects and what other lawyers are outsourcing and seeing success with. So I went through our system and I dug up some recent examples to highlight what other estate planners are outsourcing and delegating to help illustrate this for you. So let's just go through these, okay? Okay, so of course, what's the most basic thing any estate planner might need help with? Drafting an estate plan, okay? So recently, we actually have a user that does this all the time. He comes in, he posts the project, this is the description, I'll let you read it. He pretty routinely prices these at $450. The other really interesting thing about this is that this attorney in particular happens to be a member of a national group called Wealth Counsel. I was formerly a member. I've put my membership on pause as I'm focusing on other business endeavors, as you can tell. But he has built a team of Wealth Counsel freelancers, people that are also members of Wealth Counsel and have access to the software. So then when he posts these, he can say, I want someone who's in Wealth Counsel to come in and draft these documents and give me the answer files. So if you happen to be a Wealth Counsel member and you want some help from other Wealth Counsel members who might have time to freelance, you know, a lot of these people are people that are shifting practice areas. So they have the software license, which is a requirement, but they maybe aren't as busy as you yet. And so in the meantime, they can assist you with drafting documents. It helps get them up and running, get them trained, provides some mentorship, and also helps you get work done. So just wanted to throw that out there that we do have a pretty robust database of attorneys who are freelancers and have the Wealth Counsel license that can help you if you also have a license. That's the requirement. Both sides need to have that license. Okay. Another common one for estate planners, you need help with funding. So, you know, you've created the trust, the client signed it, and now you need help to fill out all those pesky change of beneficiary forms and title documents. And I love this project description because they even included that they wanted a spreadsheet to be created of assets to be retitled that could be given to the client. And so if you need help with funding, you can have our freelancers do a lot of that time-consuming work of filling in those forms and getting the funding documents ready. Deed preparation. I know this comes up a lot. This was I found a Florida quitclaim deed the other day. I think the price was $75, but we see the flat fee prices on these deed projects anywhere from about $75 to $250. And it's a great way if you have a client who happens to own property in another state where you're not licensed and you're not quite sure how to prepare that deed, you can hop on here, find someone in that state to draft that deed for you and further advance your client down the road of funding, because I think every good estate planner knows that's one of the ways you can really differentiate yourself is helping your client properly fund their trust once it's created. Research memo. Okay, so I use the LawClerk a lot for this. You know, in fact, just this week, I had a client reach out to me because his daughter has an issue with her landlord and the AC broke and she stayed at a hotel and she wanted to get reimbursed for the hotel costs. So totally not really in my core area, but it's related enough that I can help them get an answer. But I didn't have an hour and a half in my day to, you know, look up the pertinent rules about air conditioner repair and draft a letter to the landlord, but I can certainly put it on LawClerk and still help that client, still remain their go-to attorney so that I'm top of mind anytime they have a legal problem come up. And I know, you know, for a lot of clients, their estate plan attorney is their only attorney. And so you're their go-to for any myriad of unusual issues that come up. And yes, a lot of times you may have to refer them out to other lawyers in your network. But things like this, you know, a landlord-tenant letter, or this example I pulled up here, which was a memo analyzing a testamentary trust that a client had. You know, these are things that are time consuming, probably not the best use of your time, so you might as well delegate them to another lawyer to dig in and do that research and prepare a memo for you. So next, I have a couple of examples related to marketing, because I think marketing is so key for every estate plan practice. Again, you want to stay top of mind. You want to continue to come up with new content that helps you connect with potential clients. So blog posts, we see blog posts all the time in all practice areas. I think some of the criminal law blog posts are the most juicy and interesting, but you know, if you put up a blog or a newsletter and you need help writing content, this was a great example. Someone said they needed a blog post and social media blurbs to explain the issues related to organ donation and where you should indicate you want to be an organ donor, and all statistics about it too. I thought it was a really detailed project description. $75, have a lawyer put their creative writing talents to use and write a blog post for you. A lot of times I do see lawyers post blogs 2 at a time, because you might as well queue up a bunch of content. That way you're ready to go and keep your blog fresh. And when I see them posted for 2 blogs, it's usually about $150 for a flat fee, just to give you an idea on that. Okay, another marketing piece for estate planning in particular, you know, articles. It's a great way for you to get recognized in your industry with your peers, especially to get referrals from other attorneys that don't do estate planning work, is to, you know, put an article in your state bar journal. But again, these can be really time consuming to write. So we recently had someone that had apparently volunteered to write an article about whether a trust can protect you from lawsuits. And they, sorry, my dog is really being trouble over here. So, you know, they can be ghostwriters for you. And even if it's writing just the nitty gritty core part of the article about whether the trust can protect you from lawsuits, you can still come in and put your own personal touch with an intro, conclusion, you know, your own style. But it can be, you know, especially for a 3,000 word article, this can be a big time saver. Another one, marketing materials, guides, FAQs. You know, I years ago put together an FAQ guide on probate issues for people who own timeshares in Nevada, because I practice in Las Vegas and a lot of people buy timeshares here. And so there's, or, you know, what are the core estate planning documents every young family needs? There's endless mini guides that you can make. Here was a recent example. We had someone put up, they wanted a mini guide on special needs planning. They wanted it to be geared towards parents of children with special needs, not lawyers. So it needed to be in, you know, plain English, easy to understand. They wanted at least 200 words, and they were looking for the lawyer to write up the bulk of that guide so they can then obviously go in and have their designer put their own branding and finishing touch on it, all that good stuff. So, you know, keep us in mind for these types of things that you know you should be doing, but it's hard to find the time to put together these guides and these materials. Okay, so the cool thing about LawClerk is we're not just for basic estate planning work. We're not just for help with marketing and blogs. Our freelancers are out there that can do really sophisticated, complex work too. So a few months back, we had a project come through that was to draft a Nevis asset protection trust, and the flat fee price was $3,000. Okay, this is a really sophisticated piece of work. And I will admit, when this came up, I was a little bit nervous about, oh my gosh, do we have someone in our network that can do this and do it well? And we were nervous. But lo and behold, there was a lawyer, one of the freelance lawyers out of Florida, who has she worked in private practice. She worked at a trust department for, I believe, a large trust company. And she had experience writing these trusts. And she came in and did just a phenomenal job for this lawyer drafting this complex trust. So we're not just for the easy stuff. We can handle more complex work as well. Never underestimate the power of our law clerks. And another one that comes up a lot of times are property agreements. Sometimes you have property agreements related to trusts or wills, whether it's, you know, life estates, or you need rental agreements when you gift a home to an irrevocable trust, or it's, you know, property agreements in terms of a prenup or a postnup. I see that come up a lot too. So property issues, I thought I would throw that in there because they do relate to estate planning. Now, I know there's a lot of other closely related issues related to estate planning. So if you happen to practice in probate or guardianship, you can guess that these webinars are coming up, okay? But the cool thing is, if you happen to practice in other areas, we've got you covered. Maybe you do some estate planning, maybe you do some bankruptcy, maybe you do some immigration. I've met estate plan lawyers that do all sorts of different practice areas. So if you want to learn more about how you could delegate and outsource work related to those other areas that you practice, here's what you're going to want to do. You want to go to our website, lawclerk.legal. The very top in the banner there, you can see the big red arrow. You're going to want to click on Attorney Resources. When you go to that page, you will see that we have got these phenomenal guides for a whole bunch of different practice areas, and we're continually adding more. I think our team just added 3 or 4 more yesterday. And so there you'll see estate planning, wills, trust, and probate right in center there. But we've also got employment law, family law, health law, et cetera, et cetera. So if you practice in other areas and you want to see some concrete examples, or you want to see more examples in estate planning, then go check out this little area and see what we have to offer there. Okay, and beyond that, we also have our ultimate guide to outsourcing. We've got a delegation worksheet. We've got a lot of things on there to help you think through how you're going to delegate and get work done. So another really common question we get is, okay, well, can I make money with outsourcing? Like, how does this work? And first off, you know, in terms of the ethics rules, opinions, and case law all overwhelmingly say that yes, lawyers can make money by outsourcing work to freelance lawyers. The key rule to keep in mind is Model Rule 1.5, which deals with reasonableness. So the fee that you charge your client related to the work of the freelance lawyer has to be reasonable. And we've got, again, a ton of more information on this issue on our website if you want to know more. But this is not an ethics CLE, this is an estate planning CLE or webinar. So let's keep it moving. Let's do a couple of examples on the math. So let's say you happen to be doing some work for a client and you're billing that client hourly for whatever reason. Maybe you're doing a trust amendment and you said, well, I'm not really sure how long this is going to take. It's kind of complex, so I'm going to bill you hourly. And so you then delegate drafting that trust amendment to a freelance lawyer. You agree on a flat fee of $1,000 for them to do that work. They come back and report to you that they worked 8.5 hours on that project. Important to note that all of our freelancers are required to track the time they spent working on a project through LAWCLERK. We require that for a number of reasons. Number one, so you have the data, if you're billing hourly, that you can bill the client at a reasonable market rate for the hours worked. Number two, if you're working on a flat fee, which I'm going to get to next, then you also will be able to see if you are paying appropriately kind of based on the time they're spending on the work. So in this example, for the trust amendment where you're billing hourly, you pay the freelancer a flat fee of $1,000. They come back, they report they worked 8.5 hours. You determine based on their level of experience and expertise that their reasonable market rate is $200. Then you would be billing the client 8.5 times 200, which is $1,700 billed to the client for that work. Keeping in mind you paid $1,000, that means you're generating another $700 of revenue for your firm. So, okay, another example, let's say you are doing a flat fee work for your client, and the client has agreed to pay you $3,000 for a comprehensive estate plan. They want the trust, the pour over will, the powers of attorney, a deed, but you're slammed. You know, you're busy, you got clients coming in, plus signing meetings this day are really taking a lot of time, whether you're doing those outside or you're doing them inside, and you have to Clorox wipe the whole room before the client comes in. So let's say that you, sorry, my dog is being so naughty. I just hope you can't hear it. It's ironic that we have a dog on the screen while my dog is being so naughty. Sorry about that. So you decide to delegate drafting the trust and the will and powers of attorney to a freelancer. You determine that you want to pay them $600 as a flat fee. So they come back and they report that it took them 4.2 hours to do that work. That seems reasonable. And you feel confident that paying $600 for 4.2 hours of work was a good fee. You don't want to adjust that in the future. This still means that you have $2,400 of that flat fee the client's paying you to cover your own time and expertise for assisting the client, obviously for counseling them through the trust design meeting, through the signing meeting, answering questions, making revisions. There's still an ample fee for you to earn to get that work done and make it a profitable situation for both you and the freelancer. So there's an idea of how that would work on a flat fee. Now, keep in mind, if you're not quite sure how to price things and you need help, that's another thing your advisor can help you with. So don't stress out about this whole delegating on a flat fee. We're going to help you with that. So last part before I'll go check and see if we have any questions coming in. If you do have questions, please start to drop those now. I would love to go over those today. But you know, really, the secret for the attorneys who are seeing a lot of success with LAWCLERK is to build a team. We have a feature called Teams, and what this allows you to do is when you find freelancers that you really like, that you work well with, that you want to work with again in the future, you can add them to a team, and then in the future when you have a similar piece of work that you need help with, you could send it right to that freelancer rather than going through applications from other applicants. And so there's a couple of key ways we see people using this Teams feature and really excelling. Number one, okay, let's say that you have a few practice areas in addition to estate planning. You could build a team for each practice area. So maybe you end up with an estate planning team, a probate team, a guardianship team. You get the idea. This would be a way for you to find freelancers that really have specialized knowledge and experience in those areas of law, add them to the different teams, so then you're ready to go when you need help in those different areas of law. Another idea that you could consider would be to build a team for different types of skill sets. So let's say you find some freelancers who do a great job at creative writing and have written some excellent blogs for you. Then you could have a blog writing team. You could also have an estate plan review and summary team that they come in and they look at the client's former plan and they can summarize it for you, give you a memo. Maybe you have a trust drafting team, a deed prep team. If you do probate litigation, you have a probate litigation team, research team. So, you know, if you're really a focused estate planning practice, you could still have teams based on different types of skills that you need help with from time to time. And last but not least, you could build a team to work with over the life of a case. So maybe you have a high net worth client or a complex estate plan where you're going to be doing different phases of work for that client over a period of time. So maybe you come in and the first project is you have one freelancer help with preparing powers of attorney for that client. And they do a great job. Well, then next you need help with some deeds. Then you need them to research an issue about some land rights. Then you need them to write the property agreement. You could parcel out those different phases of work for the same client with the same freelancer or the same couple of freelancers on a team to build some rapport and some efficiencies and help you get that work done. So think of that in terms of working with the freelancer over the life of the whole working with the client, just like you would an associate in your firm. It's just now it's a virtual associate through LAWCLERK. Okay, now, as I mentioned before, don't forget that we can help with other areas besides estate planning. There's no monthly fees. So just to have a LAWCLERK account, have it ready to go, costs you nothing. We're not adding to your monthly overhead, which I know is so important when everyone is trying to be a lean, mean machine right now and keep overhead low. And last but not least, we have a satisfaction guarantee. So if you've never given outsourcing or delegation a try, I want you to give it a try knowing that we have a satisfaction guarantee and we've got your back. Our ratings and reviews on our freelance lawyers are incredibly high. We have less than 1% of projects that don't turn out the way the attorney wanted. And that's why we offer a satisfaction guarantee. So if you happen to have a project not go the way you hoped, we want to know about it and we're going to make it right for you every way that we possibly can, whether that's getting your money back to you, getting someone else to do the work, or both. We're going to make it right with that satisfaction guarantee. And again, your dedicated advisor that will be assigned to you will help with that. And I'm always happy to answer questions too. I gave you my email at the start. So thank you so much for taking time to join us today. I know, again, that your time is very valuable and you've got a lot of clients out there that need your help. So if you haven't already done so, I would invite you to connect with us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube. We've got some, if you like learning by video, definitely go check out our YouTube page because we've got some excellent tutorial videos there, everything from posting your first project, using us for different other types of law. I've got a more in-depth program on the Teams feature specifically. So lots of great videos for you to check out. And of course, we're on LinkedIn, Twitter, and my favorite, Instagram. So we've got, if you like our little sharks I have back here, our little Sharky, we have the Instagram at Shark on the Run, and you can keep up with Sharky and all of Sharky's adventures. And we always love it when attorneys tag us with one of their little squeezy sharks. So thank you so much for joining us. If you do have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me directly. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off for now and let you get back to work. And okay, I do have one question that came in on Wealth Counsel. With Wealth Counsel, does the LAWCLERK share the answer file? And the answer is yes. One of the things that we do tell our freelancers and our attorneys is because both the freelancer and the attorney need to have the Wealth Counsel subscription, they would both have their own login, be able to create an answer file. So yes, they can not only provide you with the draft document in Word, but they can give you the answer file so that you can further manipulate it and edit it according to your client specifications. So yes, that's a great question. And if you are a Wealth Counsel member looking for some help from fellow Wealth Counsel members who are freelancing, they can and will provide you with the answer file. So great question. So again, I'm Kay Tyler at lawclerk.legal. If you have more specific questions, I'm happy to connect with you. Or again, if you have a dedicated law clerk advisor, hit them up. They are a wealth of knowledge and can help you as well. So I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. And we're gonna sign off for now. Bye now.